to Horses, Hope, and Hustle, the podcast where faith leads, grit drives, and the Western way of life runs deep. I'm your host, Crystal Show, wife, horsewoman, entrepreneur, and believer that God doesn't waste the hard stuff. Around here, we talk real stories, big dreams, and the kind of hustle that's rooted in hope. So pull your hat down, pour that coffee, and let's ride. Welcome to another episode of Horses, Hope, and Hustle. Today, I'm joined with the 2026 World's Greatest Cowgirl, Morgan Holmes. Morgan says this win is bigger than the buckle, believing her grandma, now her angel, was riding with her every step of the way. This episode is about perseverance, trusting the process, and understanding that sometimes the greatest victories are the one that grow your heart, your faith, and your voice. Let's dive in. Okay. Well, I'm so excited to have you on our podcast today, Morgan. Thank you for taking the time. Do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners?
My name is Morgan Holmes, and I'm the 2026 World's Greatest Cowgirl.
So awesome. So deserved too. I was
Yes.
so pumped to see that you had won it. And you won. Let's talk about Monster Truck first. I love him. I don't even know him, but I love him.
It's the hot topic. It's so funny. I was walking back from the finals to kind of the awards area. They made us wait a little bit. My fence run was actually reviewed, so no one knew what I scored until they announced that I won it
Oh my
at the
gosh.
awards thing. Yeah, so that was a little bit stressful, but I knew in my heart, I was like, I know what they're reviewing. I know what they're looking at. I don't think they'll get me. I think it's okay, but you still never know. And we were
Yeah.
walking back, and there's these two young girls, probably like early 20s, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Monster Truck, please tell us something that he's bad at." And I was like, and I kind of stopped because I was like, well, he's really not bad at anything. And I was like, but he did try to get away from me when I tightened his saddle today. So like he's pretty cinchy and pretty goosey about stuff. And they were like, oh, thank God, because we just compare all of our horses to Monster Truck and that he's perfect. I was like, well, he's not, but it's okay. So that was like probably the cutest thing that someone said. We just compare him to our horses. I'm like, oh my goodness. But I do the same thing. I find myself comparing a lot of other horses to him, and he's definitely going to be hard to replace.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
old is he?
He's 10. So
Okay.
I'm fingers crossed I don't have to replace him anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the story behind him? Like, how long have you had him?
So we actually raised him, and that's where he got his name, Monster Truck. I was in school in Lubbock, and my mom called and said, hey, um, his dam's name was Cowboy Sweetheart. Cowboy Sweetheart had a big black stud colt. He's super pretty. I was like, oh, that's really exciting. And she said, yeah, he's really strong. He ran us over like a monster truck. And I was like, oh, okay. So they were trying to give him the enema and stuff, and he took down 3 full-size people
Oh my God.
as a few hours old. So that was where he got his name. And then all of our babies that we raised, our stud's name was Done It Big. And so that's his grandsire on his dam side. So everything had Done It in their name. Done It, so and so, wherever, blah, blah, blah. And his name for the longest time, his registered name was Done It in the Truck.
Oh,
Well, when I was like, I might show him, I was like, that might get made fun of a little
yeah.
bit. So I
Yeah.
was like, we always just called him Monster Truck. And I was like, how weird would it be if I just changed his registered name to Monster Truck? And I did, and the rest is history.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Have you been showing him since he was 3?
No, he actually had some struggles as a colt. He had sarcoids, so they were like kind of fleshy tumors on him. And it never hindered him or anything, but they were just really nasty, and they took a long time to heal, and we had to cut him off a couple times. And now he's got a couple scars on him from it, but we kind of just always figured he's older, he's not going to make a futurity horse, he's a big colt, we'll just rope on him whenever all this stuff's healed up. And I got him, I want to say like September, his 3-year-old year, and he wasn't like he didn't know much. He was just kind of using horse broke. And I rode him for a little bit, and I started just roping the dummy on him and just kind of using him because that was like what we thought we were going to do with him. We were just going to make him rope horse. Big, strong colt, already 3 years old. He's missed all the cow horse stuff. And then 2020 happened and he was 4, and COVID happened. And I live in a pretty small town, Stephenville. And if there's not a roping going on there, this town shuts down. So with everything like shelter in place and all that, I called my dad. I said, Dad, I'm going to come home to Florida because Florida was still pretty business as usual. Restaurants were open, outside dining, all that stuff. And I mean, Stephenville was shut down. You could not go get groceries, you couldn't do anything. So I drove home to Florida, and my dad always jokes, he's like, "What horse are you gonna ride today?" I was kind of just a roper at that time. I kind of quit the cow horse and I said, "I'm gonna ride Monster Truck. That's my new cow horse." And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And I did. And I just like went down the fence on him day one, and he took it. And I was like, "Oh, wait, we should probably try to actually train this horse." So it's been really funny because he has had absolutely no proper training whatsoever. I mean, it's kind of bad. Some days I'm like, okay, side pass over here to get the gate, and he's all like being all weird. And I'm like, well, in his defense, I probably never taught him to side pass. So I'm like, okay, okay, or I'll stop and I'll think about how I'm gonna get you to do this. But he took everything, and he's just goosey enough that like lead changes were easy. He gets off of pressure. So he learned a lot of stuff without actually being trained.
Yeah.
And I want to credit why he's such a great bridle horse now. I showed him one time as a 4-year-old, and then he got hurt. He actually tore his superficial flexor tendon. So that
Ooh.
was another whole thing, surgery, all this stuff. And during his rehab process, one of my best friends, she works at I guess it's Valley Equine, the stallion station, and she has a rehab program. She rehabbed him, and I got him home, and I just trotted him, getting him back in shape, and I rode him in a bridle. And this is, I mean, he's still a 4-year-old. I probably don't need to be riding him in a bridle, but I was like, if I'm going to trot him around, I'm going to trot him around in something that I'm going to show him in, not a
Yeah.
snaffle. And when he became of bridal age, it was just like he had done it his whole life. And it was really special because that's a lot of people struggle with that. Like the first year they put one in a bridle, his very first show, he won second, or the Cowgirl
Oh,
in the
wow.
bridle. And I want to credit it to, I just spent a lot of time with him trotting small circles and long lines and all the things. And he got really broke just out of slow speed, to where when it was ready to go, he just knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
it's
cool.
been, he's definitely, sometimes I'm like, could you imagine how good he would be if he was actually trained correctly? But it's fine.
Well, that's awesome though. It seems like he just some of them are quirky and they just take
Mhm.
to it, and when they want it, they want it. It doesn't matter
Yes.
how behind they are
No.
or
No. And like I never really thought he was like behind. He was a super incredible hackamore horse. And I was thankful the one time that I showed him at the World Show, I won the non-pro hackamore on him. But I mean, he just wants to be so good. He doesn't ever want to take advantage of the situation, the cow. I mean, really honestly, if something happens, it's probably my fault. So I mean, that's nice.
yeah, that's nice. Like, that's
Yeah.
reassuring.
That's nice. Yeah.
I love it. So let's talk about this year's Art of the Cowgirl show. What what was your favorite part of the whole show?
I think my favorite part, he was fantastic in the reining prelims. I had two like small goals to work on, and he nailed them. So I was like, you know what? I've been working really hard. I think I think I'm ready. And I tend to be a little more relaxed and not necessarily go for it in round one. I'm a make the finals kind of girl and then let it happen. And I told myself, I was like, I want to make the finals in a high position. I want to show my horse to a high level to make the finals. Before I just kind of coast through and then let him go. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to show him to his best ability that I can. And when I went out there and I nailed those two things that I've been really focusing on, I was like, okay, I can do it, and that was when it really started setting in. I can do this. I just have to do my job.
Hmm. That's awesome. How many
Yes.
years have you been showing at the World's Greatest Cowgirl?
I've shown him 4 years now, and I showed a horse prior to him that I used to own named Maria Starcat. I showed him twice, and I made the finals on him both times as well, but I didn't have as much success on him as I have Monster.
Yeah, that's so cool. So
Yes.
how did the rest of the show play out as you worked on your goals, you made it, you felt really good going into the finals?
It was all just so I get a lot of scenarios worked up in my head. It's not anxiety, but it's just I'm always thinking of, okay, if I'm draw three, blah blah blah, all these things could happen. And I really work things up more than they should be. It's not out of fear, it's just like I want to be prepared and I want to know exactly X, Y, and Z what I need to do.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I got an email. This is a week before the show started. I get an email and it says, Art of the Cowgirl draws. And I was like, oh my gosh. And if you know me and have worked with me, I tend to not read emails very well. I skip to the good part. And I hit PDF, look at the draws. I don't read any of the paragraph email that Mesa sent us. And I look at my draws. I was like, oh, wow. I have great draws in the prelims. This is awesome. Go about my business. My mom and I go to Arizona a few days early to ride with Al Dunning. And we get there, and this really sweet family, Piper Ewell and her mom, they got there that morning and they're like, oh my gosh, Morgan, it's your year. I was like, oh, thank you. And they're like, they took out the herd work from the finals. And I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? And herd work is not my strongest event.
Mm.
So this is why she was like, "Oh, it's your year." And I was like, "But wait, what? Who how do you know? When did they tell us this?" And she says, "Well, it was on the email." And I said, "I didn't even read it." Not
Like, checks out.
and I have been busting my butt to cut. So I was like, "Well, gosh dang it. I've worked really hard and now they took it out of the finals." But so that was funny and I was just like, well, at first I was like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah." I mean, I feel like it's my year too. You never know what could happen, but
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully I'll win first once. Like, I mean, I've got to, right? I don't know.
It was one of those signs. It was one of those
Yeah,
signs from
but it
God
was
in the
so
line.
funny. She's like, "Oh, you didn't read the email?" I said, "Oh, no, I did not." So then I'm like telling my mom, I'm like, "Apparently they took out the cutting." And she's like, "What?" I was like, I need to read my emails better, I guess. So that was kind of funny, but it was just like I had worked it up in my head that you need to focus on your draws. You need like I was that much in my little area that I
Yeah.
had no clue they had taken out another event. And so that was fine. But then at the same time, I'm like, okay, well don't screw up and not make the finals. Like this
Yeah.
is good stuff is happening for you. So like don't mess up and like miss your steer in the steer stopping or do something silly. Um, but it was crazy because me being the person that I am, I would be stressed out, nervous, worried, all these things. And I was never once that once we got to Wickenburg. I knew that I was going to do good.
The no booze branding mission is more than skipping a drink. It's a commitment to 1 day of sobriety in honor of those lost to suicide or alcoholism and to support those still fighting. On branding day, you choose to stay sober for the day. donate $5 if you can, and wear purple to show solidarity. One small act can make a real impact. Follow No Booze Branding on Facebook to support the mission and join the movement.
It's just like, your horse feels great. He didn't spook at that banner for the first time. There was just little things that were happening, and I was just like, all right, well, I don't know. Oh, don't mess up. That was
Mhm.
just like in my head. Don't mess up, make the finals. It'll be fine. And I got out of the herd work fine. It was not great, but it was fine. And then after the raining and the steer stopping was the same day, I caught myself like not even talking to people, just like sitting and thinking to myself and riding my horse around and just walking around. I caught myself like thinking of making the finals. And then I would like, it would be hard to breathe and my eyes would start filling up with water. And I'm like, okay, you've been in this position before. What is different? This isn't new. You expect yourself to make the finals. I try to be realistic, but I also work really hard. I don't want to show
Mhm.
up somewhere and be like, I don't have a chance. I
Yeah.
know I have a chance. So that was kind of weird. That feeling of like, it wasn't overwhelming, but it was just like, I can't talk about it. And as the week went on, I worked my cow. I was good down the fence, and I knew I made the finals. I knew I made the finals with lots of points to spare. In years before, I was close. I had snuck in, or not snuck in, but I was mid of the pack, and there was no thought. I made the
Mhm.
finals. And the same kind of feeling kept happening, and I was just like, maybe I'm just emotional. I don't know how to navigate this situation. And we had Thursday off. No, we had yeah, we had Friday off. Friday we didn't show. And we ranch rodeoed and did stuff. And it was like kind of like that, just keep yourself busy, don't think about it. But it was still like this weird feeling. And my mom and I hadn't talked about it. I was just pretty much like business as usual. Um, do your job. Mom's there. My mom is the most supportive person in the entire world. And almost to a fault, because there's some days I'm like, Mom, don't whistle when my horse does not stop. Like, you can't be that mom. I don't want a pity whistle. And so she's like, okay, so I'm like the hard, like I'm the hard one. I want to be perfect. I want to do things right. And then she's like, it was pretty good. I'm like, well, pretty good is not going to win first, Mom. So we're not going for pretty good. We're going for good. Good. And so you need to know that about her. She's very positive. And I'm not. I'm like, oh man, yes, I marked a 146, but there's these things I could have done better. So we just kind of talk about that throughout the week. I say the things that I wish I would have done better, the things that I was happy about, and that was our talk. I never told her about that feeling that I had like in my stomach, and it was just like I told her finally when I told her, I said, "Do you feel like you can breathe?" And she's like, I feel that way too. So I'm skipping around, but I'm gonna get to it. So Friday night we're riding, and it was just kind of like open arena. So we're working on our reining. And if you know Monster Truck, our night practices before we show don't usually go so well. Usually he's scared of something, or he decides to do a lead change like a Lipizzanner, or it's something new every time, but it would be boring if he was just super awesome all the time. So this is where we're at. And he was fantastic. Like he came out there head down, ears up, and was just like a warrior. And I rode him around, and it was me, Kelsey Thomas, and Carmen Buckingham. They're my cowgirl heroes. It was just us three riding around, and they were running and stopping. I ran and stopped a couple times, and it was just different. So I walked out of the arena, and there's a little kind of like back pad where we ride, and it's in the dark. And I called one of my really good friends. Her name's Ashley Eberhart, and she's who I kind of look for guidance with my walk with the Lord. And I call her Bama. I said, Bama, I hate to bother you, but I need you to pray over me. I said, I'm going to win tomorrow. And I said, it's my grandma. And my grandma, it's not a pressure, but it's like a weight, a tingle where I can't catch my breath. It's in me. I said, I know I'm going to win first. And I said, I know it's her. I just want you to pray over me and to how I can glorify God for this feeling, because I've never experienced anything like this. And the crazy way that the world works and his plan, she was in Dallas leaving a women's conference at that moment.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I cried. I told her, I said, Bama, I've never felt these feelings. And I'm not an arrogant person. It was really hard for me to say, I know I'm going to win. It was not about winning first. It was about what the Lord has done for me with this horse, what he has done for my family. And I just was like, how do I glorify him when I do win? Because I know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very crazy experience for me.
I have freaking goosebumps. Like when I read your Facebook post, I
Yeah.
was like, oh my, but like listening to you say that, like literal, like goosebumps on my arms, like, oh my gosh, that is
I mean,
incredible.
yeah. And I just kept saying, I was like, this is so crazy. She's like, well, it's not crazy. This is how this stuff works. I'm like, I know, but crazy and unimaginable, those are my words, because I don't know how to explain what I'm experiencing, and frankly, I do not know how to handle it right now. I am
Like, this is
on
great.
the brink.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that just like gives me complete chills. So
Yeah.
what did you feel like going into the finals the next day after that?
So I called her and we prayed, and I mean, it was probably a 30-40 minute phone call, and I sat in the dark, and when I was a little girl, I would twist my hair when I got tired. So if I ever get nervous, I'll like twist Monster's hair and wrap it around my finger and just kind of sit there and think or settle down. And when we prayed, I twisted my finger in his mane, and he stood there in the dark, flat-footed. I think he knew what was going on. And he stood there, and I prayed and I cried and we cried. And meanwhile, my mom was watching me ride. Now suddenly I'm gone. She's like, what the heck is she doing? Doesn't know if I'm on the phone, doing whatever. So she goes and takes care of my sale horse and feeds him and does stuff. And she came back, and I was done, and I met her at the end of the arena. Well, she could tell that I'd been crying, and she's like, doesn't ask. And then she's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I said, this is gonna be hard to say, because I know what I'm about to open is a whole can of worms for us. Because it was her mom, is my grandma, who passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I had to call Bama. I said, and I asked her to pray over me. And she just stops and she starts crying. And I said, do you feel like you can't breathe when you think about grandma and everything here? And she said, every time you walk into the pen. And then we cried and we talked. And I just said, Mom, it's going to happen. I know I'm going to do it. And she's like, I know you are too. And it was just the craziest thing. And we walked and talked the whole way back to the trailer to unsaddle my horse. And I was just like, there was nothing else other than I know it's going to happen. So then I told her, I said, Mom, do you think the other times when I won second, it was obviously it wasn't the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously something was bigger, and that's when I felt in my heart to tell this story. I was like, God made me wait two times. Two times I could have won. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lesson in waiting, and there's a lesson in working hard and not giving up, but there's also a lesson in believing in yourself and believing in his path.
Mm-hmm. My gosh, made me tear up. I'm like,
Well, I'm doing really good. I'm like really proud of myself.
You're doing awesome. You're doing awesome right now. But holy cow. What I admire so much about all of this, like obviously an incredible horsewoman to be able to make the horse, go make the finals, go do well. But the fact that you were able to turn this year into so much more is so empowering and so incredible.
Yeah, and it was really special. This part might get me, so I'm going to apologize now. But it was really special. Kelsey Thomas, who is the world's greatest cowgirl. I don't ever want to take I won this year, but she is the title. You know? I'm proud of myself. It was a long time coming, but that girl, she's incredible. And her horse is amazing as well. Um, we had some friends here in Stephenville lose their little girl at the
Mhm.
beginning of the show. She passed away, and Kelsey gave us little pink boas to tie on our saddles and pink feathers for our hats
Oh.
in memory of Oakland. And it was really special, and it was like it's something that I want to share love. I didn't know the little girl. I don't really know the family as well as I should, but it was on my heart to, yes, of course, I will wear it in honor of her. I'm thankful to have angels around me every day. But the day of the finals, after I won and everything, during the sale, Kelsey went up to my mom and said, like, that she was proud of me and that it was a long time coming and yada yada. And she said, I know that she had pink on her saddle and in her hat, but she was riding for a different person today. And so that made me really happy and really proud that people could see that I had my grandma's strength with me throughout the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
know.
so special. That's so,
Yes.
oh my
Well, it
gosh.
just is so respectful to come from such a great competitor like Kelsey.
Mhm.
I was like, wow, if she noticed that, I think I've done what I set out here to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. How awesome is that too, like as competitors that you can just acknowledge like no bad feelings, but
Hmm.
like you
Yeah.
were the, you know,
Yeah.
you were the horsewoman today. Like
Yes.
and yeah.
Yeah. And both of us, we understand that those are once in a lifetime horses. So it's just respect on respect.
Mhm. Yeah, they're both phenomenal horses.
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you want to share a little bit about your grandma? Sounds like she's a
Um,
very, very special person.
yes. So, my grandma was incredible. I actually am working on a little project for her. We're trying to get her accepted into the AQHA Hall of Fame.
Oh, cool.
So I got some records from AQHA. My aunt sent them to me, and she had over 80 first place wins in the ranch riding.
Oh,
And that
wow.
was towards her later years in life. So she was at least 70 when all of these wins started taking place. She was cowgirl through and through. She didn't rope or do anything like that, but when she was growing up, that wasn't a thing for women. It was barrel racing, and then the reining kind of came around, and she did that. Then she showed in the cow horse, and the last time she showed at the World Show, she made the open ranch riding finals with her oxygen tank strapped to her saddle.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
she's the cowgirl we all want to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was a cancer survivor. She was the toughest person that I know. And it was really funny because she would always tell me, Monster Truck, he's just so beautiful. He just knows where that camera is. Look at his little ears. And
Oh.
it was funny. We went to a horse show. I mean, we've been very close throughout my whole life. And we went to a horse show in Tulsa, my mom and I. And on the way home, their house isn't on the way home, but it was on the way home enough that we stopped and I unloaded him and we snuck him in their backyard, which isn't really horse friendly, and tapped on the kitchen table window. And she was like, "Oh my gosh!" So she comes outside and she was all loving on him. And she's like, "He's too good to be out here. You need to go put him back in that trailer. He can't be walking around in this yard." I was like, "Well, he can. He's fine." But she always just thought that he was the cat's meow. And so I know that she had the best seat when we finally did it. But
If you own a business and you're looking for a better way to reach people who actually listen, we should talk. Horses Hope and Hustle partners with brands that believe in hard work, honesty, and showing up. Let your business be heard by our listeners through authentic, story-driven sponsorships. Contact us today for more info.
she just taught me always look your best, always make your horse look their best. You never know who's watching you. You never know who's going to come up and say hi. And she was an industry leader for sure.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yes.
She sounds like a phenomenal lady.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so I was really thankful to finally do it, and then having everyone see that it was like in honor of her that I had an angel riding with me is just incredible, because I didn't want that to be overshadowed by the fact that we've come second twice. Like, it's been close. I wanted it to mean more than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So cool. So did you grow up in Florida then?
I did. So I grew up in Florida and then moved out here to go to college, and then I've stayed out here the whole time.
Very cool.
Yes.
And you said your family, did you get to show cow horse in Florida? How long have you been showing in the cow horse?
I've been showing cow horses since I was small. I think 8 at my first world show.
Oh, wow.
I was just a little nugget. But my dad, his name's Jay Holmes, and he had a ton of non-pros and customers and stuff. So it was, if Morgan's horse can fit on the trailer, she gets to show, that kind of thing. And so I got to go to a lot of really big shows that I probably shouldn't have ever shown at, just because if we had an extra hole in the trailer, by gosh, my horse was going. So
Yeah.
it's definitely cool to have grown up in the industry, and it's so funny now that I have this great horse who's taken me places that I never imagined. I get to warm up in the arenas of huge, I mean, I showed in a Run for the Million qualifier, and I'm warming up with all my heroes, and they've known me since I was 8 years old. So it's really special. And then of course, the funny thing is that everyone loves Monster Truck, so it's like trotting around out there, and Todd Crawford, who's the legend, walks up, "Is Monster ready today?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's ready today." And it's so crazy to like, I know that they remember that I was that kid going the wrong way, loping circles, like when they were trying to warm up their horses, but I guess they forgot, or they just really like my horse.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you get to Texas then? You went to college there? Is that what you-
So when I was little, I did kind of everything just because that's what my dad did. He trained rope horses and cow horses. So I roped when I was little and really, really liked going to high school rodeos and doing all that. So I got a full ride to Vernon College to rodeo my freshman year, and I did that. And then I transferred to Texas Tech to show on the ranch horse team. So it's funny, I went from being a little rodeo girl for a couple of years to kind of having to crack back out my Rommels and my chaps and start showing again.
Very cool. And then you just
Yeah.
decided to stay in Texas?
Yep. So then I decided to stay, and I moved to Stephenville. Stephenville is a small town outside of Weatherford, and it's kind of close enough to Fort Worth, but far enough away, that kind of area. And Stephenville is known as the cowboy capital of the world. So most of your top 15 NFR competitors, they all live here. So it's kind of, I mean, it's a really great place. We've got jackpots almost every night of the week, and lots and lots of stuff to do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So is that all you do? Not. Is that what you do? There we go. I didn't say like not all. That's it.
Yeah.
Is that
I
what you do?
yeah, I actually do probably rope more than I show at the cow horse shows, which I mean, it's neither here nor there, but you can make a lot of money roping. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're a girl and you have good horses and you kind of get noticed as like, oh, she can go get her steers caught and she'll handle them good, you can get some pretty good partners. And I mean, there's a lot of opportunity when in the cow horse show, I mean, the payouts are good as well, but as a non-pro, it's not as good as they could be, you know? So that's everyone asked me after winning, well, what are you and Monster Truck gonna do now? I was like, we kind of just hang out. Like, we don't really do a whole lot. I mean, I did promise a couple of my friends that now that I finally won, that I'm gonna start jackpotting on him. So I'm gonna try to just take him to some more ropings and see what happens there. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm very much that person that's like, oh, I can't take my horse and rope on him. I have a show in 8 months from now. Like I can make up some excuses not to go rope on my horse. But so it'll be fun. I've got a roping I wrote down on my calendar earlier, 2 weeks away, and that's my goal. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna chicken out. I'm gonna take him. And only him. So I have to ride him.
So you can't change your mind when you
It's like
get there.
can't change my mind, yeah. But I mean, he does not like to just sit in his pen, so I'm like, well, I gotta ride him. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, fun. Way fun.
yeah.
If you, what would be your best advice to somebody that was just wanting to get started in the cow horse or roping and had big dreams?
Um, well, I am proof that dreams can come true because, like I said, I did everything when I was little. I love to rope. I love the cow horse. And thankfully, Art of the Cowgirl gave us a place to do both,
Mm.
and at a high level. So your dreams can come true. But I would say try to surround yourself with people who are going to support you and people who are also going to be like, hey, you've got to, this is not easy. It's not an easy road, but you can do it. You know,
Mm.
I think a lot of it is going to come from just crazy passion. You know, it was 20 degrees a week before we left Arizona and my arena was wet and I loped my horse in the pasture.
Yeah.
And I can only say that that was crazy passion and I didn't want to take a day off.
Yeah. Great advice.
Yep.
What has been your biggest reward with your journey to where you are now and to this year's results?
Um, I'm not even gonna say it was winning this year. I think my biggest reward is within myself and within my faith. Um, the very first year that I showed Monster there, it was so funny because there's little ladies that come up, oh, we love your horse. Sweetie, you did such a good job. We love your horse, you know. And I'm like, thank you, ma'am, you know. And it's the amount of people that call you and find you on Facebook and say, oh my gosh, I just wanted to tell you I love your horse. I love your horse. And I'm like, okay, this horse has given me a platform and it's not something that I ever thought, and I don't know why it happened. I mean, I would hope that if he was a bay, that he would have got the same amount of love and praise
Yeah.
instead of him being a crazy colored Gruyere with a coon tail. Um, but I don't know how, we don't know how this works. We don't know our path, you know?
Mm.
But I want to say that that horse has opened so many doors, and it's not that we've won, it's just of who he is and who he makes me become, if that makes sense.
That's so cool. What has been some of your bigger struggles staying staying to the path, sticking to the dreams?
Um, I tend to be an overthinker, and I tend to get very caught up in you're not competitive enough, you don't have a professional training your horse, you don't ride with people every day. It's me and myself and this horse. And I have tons and tons of people that help me and lots of mentors and stuff. But it's hard when you're out there by yourself every day. I mean, is my horse's mouth open? Is it shut? I don't know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I don't know what the overall picture is. And it's really hard to not let the doubts creep into your head that you are doing enough and that you are capable. I try to remind myself, I'm like, you're capable of great things. So try to remember that and don't be so hard on yourself. That I think it's the outside doubts that get to me the most. And it's not that I don't think my horse is good enough. I know my horse is good enough. It's more my doubts. Um, and that's just something I feel like that's something that a lot of people worry about, but that's where we have to have faith that we are.
Yeah. I'm with you on the overthinking
Mhm.
thing. And sometimes my mind is literally my worst enemy.
100%. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, and you were talking about earlier, like I think of every scenario, like I do the same thing. And my poor
Mhm.
husband, like I'll just like get in this zone and like stare out in space. And he's like, what are you thinking about? Nothing, everything.
Nothing,
I've already thought of
nothing
all of
at all.
it.
I have absolutely nothing going on in my head.
Yeah, I'm like, nothing.
Never have I said that. Yeah, it's so weird. But I mean, I guess that's what makes us special, right?
Yeah. That's what, well, like you said, like showing up prepared. I'm like, well, if this happens, I already thought of what I'm going to say and do and all this. And so there's that.
Yeah. I do like to be prepared, and I'm very much like a ritual kind of girl. Like, I have a really great head horse, and it was super funny. An NFR guy tried him, and I was like, oh my gosh, huge opportunity, life changing. That's your dream. You want your horse to go to the NFR, right?
Yeah.
And it was awful. My horse was terrible for this guy. I mean, he was not terrible, but he was not great. And
Yeah.
this kid, he is the nicest person in the world. He was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, well, you do have to understand, I do literally the same thing every time I walk in the box. I swing my rope twice, I turn this way, I grab my reins like this, I back up, I get my rope ready, and I nod. And he's like, well, if I have to walk forward, I'm like, you might not be able to. I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, I roped on that horse for 6 years and that's all he knew. And
Yeah.
having someone different ride him, I'm like, I am so sorry that I messed all of this up. But so I'm very much like that in anything that I do. And it's kind of funny because my mom and I have this friend, Barb Schulte, and she does clinics all across the country of like women workshops and she cuts and stuff. And she's more about like your mindset behind your run. Think it through, imagine the scenario, all the things. And she told me one thing, and I'll never forget it. She said, remember your very best run. What were the things that you did to get there? How'd you put your horse's boots on? When did you lope him? When did you do this? So I am now my biggest enemy. Heaven forbid you break my ritual. I cannot handle that. And it's funny because my mom's like, "Oh, you're gonna get on Monster Truck, and then what if he needs to go pee?" I'm like, "He doesn't. He does not pee until we're done.
It's
This
not in
is
the
how it
ritual.
goes. This is not on the ritual. I will not take him back to the stall. He cannot pee." So something so silly like that. I'm like, "What in the world do I have going on?" But hey, it works.
Hey, you got to
Yeah,
find what works for you.
yeah. But that's
That's
like a
hilarious.
show horse thing. Like they have to go pee in their stall in shavings, and she'll always be like, what if he has to pee? And before the final sister, I'm like, he is not going to pee, Mom. I'm sorry. We do not have time. We got to
And
go.
It is not on the agenda.
I was like, not, he is not scheduled to go pee, and he will not pee on just dirt. So heaven forbid. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I feel like that's what every gelding dreams of, is being owned by a neurotic girl like that. So it
Yeah.
could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't mind.
No,
He's
he
like,
held
"Good
it. He did good.
job." Oh, I love that. That's so awesome. Well, gosh, is there anything else you want to add to anything else you want
I
to
don't think
share?
so. I think I did. I think I covered all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to
Yeah.
join us and be a guest on the podcast. And I really, like I said, I've been watching you show for years, and I was always like a big fan. And then after you went, I was like, ooh, I got to ask her. I'm going to let the dust settle. And I had told like one person, like, I think I'm going to reach out to Morgan Holmes and ask her if like she would be a guest. And they're like, oh, yeah, did you see her Facebook post? And I was like, no, what Facebook post? And I went and read it, and I was like, I definitely have to have her on the podcast. Like, this is everything that is our mission. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you
no,
taking.
this was so special. And like I said, it was something really personal, but it was on my heart. I was like, you got to, if this helps one person or nobody, just accept the little tingle that they have. I hope it
Mhm.
does.
Yes. There is so much power in just sharing your story, even when you think like, oh, like, I don't want to put this on social media or whatever. Like, this is
Hmm.
mine. I think it's very special because it does create like a community, or like you said, like it becomes so relatable to other people, which there's so much power in that.
Yes, no, and I totally agree. A lot of my Facebook is, I mean, honestly, monster truck. But now I'm like, okay, how, like, what I asked my friend, I'm like, how do I glorify God throughout this? So that is a work in progress, but I'm going to try my best.
I love it. Good for you. That's so fantastic. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. And if people want to follow you and Monster Truck, they can find you on Facebook. I'm mainly a Facebook person, so I don't know. I
I
don't
like
pay attention to
Facebook.
other.
Yeah. I have
Um,
Instagram, but I mean, Instagram is literally just monster truck. So I mean, I guess if they want to follow him, they can.
we should like give out a Monster Truck autograph, like a little nose print or something.
Well, so my mom, it was hot this year in Arizona. It was like
Yeah, it was
abnormally
warm the
hot.
weekend.
It
Yeah.
was hot. And
Mhm.
I had a sale horse a couple of years ago, and I got, they weren't fat heads, but they were like little fans, and we stuck them
Yeah.
on popsicle sticks, and they had his name on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, mom, could you imagine if we got like monster truck heads and gave it to like all these little ladies sitting in the stands? Could you imagine?
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, so I don't know. My mom's practicing for next year. She got home and she's already riding her horse and stuff. And she's like, I want to do it again. I was like, all right. Well, we had a deal that if I won, then she got to show him Monster.
Uh-huh.
But she does not warm up horses very good. So I don't think that would end very well for her or my horse. Uh, when he decides to buck her off, it would really wreck his street cred. Uh, but so she got home and was practicing. So who knows? Maybe next year we'll have little monster truck fans for everyone.
I love that. That is so
Yeah.
awesome. So cool. Well, is that your goal then? You're going to be back at it next year?
Well, I hope so. I don't know. I promised all my jackpot buddies. I was like, I'll win this one. I'll be done. I'll just start roping on him. But then I saw a comment and it like kind of lit a fire in my butt. I don't know who it was. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember what post it was on. But it was a girl. She said, "Welcome to the Morgan Holmes era." And I was like, "Whoa, that's kind of cool." So I was like,
Ooh.
I could be tempted with going back.
You can do both. You'll
Yeah,
have to break the
exactly.
stigma of only a real horse or
Exactly.
only a show horse.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love it. Well, we'll see you somewhere, and I'm sure you'll
Yes,
just keep kicking butt.
I hope so.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it. And again, congratulations on your achievement.
Thank you. This was awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for riding along with me on Horses, Hope, and Hustle. If you found even a little bit of inspiration or grit here today, share it with a friend, leave a review, or tag us on socials. And keep showing up for what truly matters. Until next time, stay true, stay tough, and keep hustling.